friends, today on the occasion of Vaisakhi Buddh Purnima, I would like to share with you an excerpt from my book, Zeroing In on Happiness. The theme of this excerpt is compassion is central to the Buddhist teachings. And also there is a small tale from the Dalai Lama's life, highlighting the significance of compassion in Buddhist teaching. But before I start reading out from the book, let me share with you the great Mahayana mantra, Om Mane Padme Hum. This mantra too, in essence, means that the way to salvation is only through compassion. It is for this transparent message of the mantra, which is scientific in nature and essence, that this Mahayana mantra is the only mantra in the entire Tibetology, Buddhist teachings, and Indology I believed in. So let me now begin with the reading. When the Buddha first expounded that there was neither Atma nor God, the spiritual masters and the ascetics were bothered about the purpose and the relevance of spiritual path or practice in absence of a soul to be liberated or a God to be attained. This question was posed by Kashyapa, the great fire worshipper, and by many other ascetics. Before the Buddha's finding of the reality of Dhamma, a spiritual path was deemed entirely devoted to the liberation of soul. This was so perhaps because with soul as a permanent entity able to manifest in rebirths, an individual aspired for attaining higher and better forms of life among the living beings and better births within the humans. Moreover, the misconceived eternal soul notion necessitating actions for improving the next life lead to actions that have no or little relevance and causes perpetration of heinous crimes against mankind. The Buddha's findings of anathema rendered spiritual practitioners purposeless. The question was, why to strive for spiritual excellence if there was no soul to be benefited from it? The Buddha viewed that even without a soul, there was a huge reason to follow a spiritual path. The need for relieving humankind from sufferings, which necessitates overcoming it by spiritual understanding of the reality. Very unique of the Buddha's approach was his stress on, striving diligently for understanding the real face of ignorance and to find insight into the reality of life and the universe. This understanding would, according to him, enable one to see beyond apparent forms. He would see things in the illuminating awareness of the right understanding, the right thought, the right speech, the right action, the right efforts, the right living, the right mindfulness, and the right concentration. This fills one with love, and from love arises compassion. The Buddha, to the Buddha, the enhancement of compassion is the purpose of spiritual practice, and this is understood to rise from perfect understanding of the reality through a diligent practice of meditation that enhances concentration. This in turn aims at assuaging the pains of suffering mankind. There is complete realism in the Buddha's approach. Sufferings with their roots in desire and ignorance, with their solution in overcoming desire and ignorance, and with their allayment in the Eightfold Middle Path, is the focal point of the Buddha's way, and the entire Buddhist prototype has been built upon this concern. The upshot, dear friends, is its ability to look at the nature of things with complete understanding and awareness for cultivating true love and compassion for every being, marveling interdependence with every phenomenon, and living in perpetually poised breath, body, and mind. The nurturing of compassion, the spiritual elevation of one's self through understanding one's origin, existence, and death as a vital part of the entire living and non-living world, is the supreme goal. This feeling of compassion and the insight into interdependent living, when diligently imbibed, brings true compassion and concern for every being and everything. Love and compassion realized through understanding are infallible. A practitioner enabled with love and compassion is immune to dichotomous outlook and does not fall prey to any dichotomous outlook. The concept of karuna, compassion, is so central to the Buddhist thought and perception that a monk has to be invincible in his training and practice of compassion. The Buddhist outlook requires treating even an ill-doer with pity, not with hatred. There is an interesting tale narrated by an 80-year-old monk visiting the Dalai Lama at Dharamshala. The tale narrated by the Dalai Lama in his interview published some time back in Reader's Digest had it that the old monk was released from Chinese jails after 20 years of imprisonment. While conversing with him, the Dalai Lama asked him what was the most difficult moment that he had faced during his long term in the Chinese jails. The octogenarian monk told there had been a few occasions of real crisis. The Dalai Lama, guessing that these might have been moments when his life was under threat at the hands of the Chinese, asked whether there were the moments when these were the moments when his life was in danger. No, said the old Lama, and continued. These were the few occasions when I thought I may not be able to pity my captors anymore. After reading this interview, I wondered how deeply nurtured would have been compassion in this man's mind, in this holy man's mind, that all that occurred to him while suffering atrocities at the hands of his captors for 20 years was just a fear that he might not be able to pity for them anymore. And just the fear of losing compassion for the poor souls engaged in the act of perpetrating pains to others was a crisis of unforgettable magnitude, let alone hating them. How can one reach this state of composure? Is it something only an ascetic or a monk can attain? With the seed of enlightenment present in every being, as the Buddha had asserted, this is possible for every person. The way is meditation to awareness. Friends, with this I would like to again remind you of the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum.